for joining me on another Positive Thursday. My name is Zoe Flower. I want to thank each one of you for joining me on this segment. Thank you for joining me on the second segment of Positive Thursday episode. In today's episode 2, we're going to be talking about inspirational movies. Today's movie is going to be about Mrs. Doubtfire, who plays the late Robin Williams as Daniel. We have Sally Fields, who played Miranda as the mom, and they have 3 adorable kids. Natalie, who is the oldest daughter, their son Chris, and Lydia, their daughter, which is the youngest daughter. For those of you who have seen Mrs. Doubtfire, you know it's an all-time classic. Me, myself, I can watch it over and over again. It's so amazing how Robin Williams, how he can make so many different voice disguises and put on different acts. I mean, it's just so funny. And Sally Fields does an excellent job in this movie. And what I love most about this movie, not only is it inspirational, but it's a family movie that brings family closer together. Something that we don't have nowadays. So anyway, Daniel and Miranda, they was a long time loving family. They was, a happy family at one point in time, but they separated. They was no longer happy anymore with each other. Miranda more so. She wasn't happy with being with Daniel anymore because she felt like he wasn't responsible enough and that he was really childish. Miranda, she worked for this big corporation, making a lot of money. Daniel, I think he was doing like some kind of TV producing, or I believe so. So anyway, to make a long story short, one day when Miranda came home from work after a long day, she has a cake in her hand because it was one of the kids' birthdays. She hear all this music playing from outside her home. The cops out front. She looking around, looking to see what's going on. She opens the door. It's animals in the house, kids jumping all around. Daniel, who plays the late Robin Williams, jumping on a table, dancing with his son. That's it, that they having a birthday party for. And one of his friends, they jumped on the table, dancing to the song, jumping around. And she yells, "Daniel!" And he like, "Yo." That's exactly how Daniel said it, the late Robin Williams said it, because he was so funny. It was so funny, that part. So anyway, the party was shut down. Daniel and Miranda got into a big fight and a big disagreement over the whole situation. Their kids, all the rest of the kids already left already, cleared out the party. Their kids were standing at the stairway listening to their parents arguing back and forth. Miranda was like, "Daniel, I am done with you." I guess she just got fed up with all of the childish ways and coming home to a dirty home, and she felt as though that he wasn't being responsible enough. She felt like, everything was on her shoulders. So she decided that she wanted to part ways with Daniel because she was no longer happy in the marriage. And he was like, can we go to counseling? Can we go to a family vacation? She was like, no. I guess she just fell in love with him. She wasn't in love with him like he loved her. So she decided that she wanted him to move out the house. So he got an apartment. He was very upset. Not only was he upset, the kids was upset because they was really close with their dad. And, she was like, we're going to have to go to the court system to find some kind of way so we can be able to find a way you can spend time with the kids and I can. Daniel was so heartbroken, and also the kids as well, too, because, in any family household, especially when it's parents, like a mom and dad, and then it's like a family thing, the parents decide they want to divorce or separate, it really leaves an effect on the kids. It really do. A lot of people don't think that, but it really do. And I know that some of you can also agree with me as well, too. So Daniel was distraught over the whole situation. He went to go talk to one of his friends and asked him, what can he do, to be able to spend more time with his kids. Miranda, she didn't want him to have no parts of them because she felt as though that he wasn't responsible enough. She felt like he was very childish. So Miranda, she worked for this corporation, this big business corporation that required her to work long hours. So she was looking for someone else that she felt as though that could take care of them. So she put an ad in the paper for a nanny, She hired a couple people. She felt as though that they didn't fit what she was looking for. So somehow Daniel, the kid's father, found out that she placed the ad in a paper looking for a nanny. So he came up with some kind of light bulb went off in his head, and he came to the conclusion that he wanted to, do anything that he can to spend time with his kids. So the stream that he went to, his friend had helped him because he was like some kind of like makeup artist. So he put him in all these different disguises to see what would fit, because Daniel wanted to be a part of his kid's life, but he didn't want he didn't want Miranda to know that he was dressing up in disguise as a nanny to see if he was going to be hired as their nanny so he could have time with his kids, although it was really him. So he so his friend helped him to come up with some kind of different disguise, dressed him up like an old lady with glasses, blonde hair, which was a brilliant idea. He had this accent that was out of this world that was so hilarious because Robert Williams could play any part. I mean, he was just so funny. So she called Mrs. Doubtfire. She called Miranda and was like, hi, darling. Let me stop. I can't talk like that in the accent. I just want to make y'all laugh. Hi, darling. She called, hi, this is Miss Doubtfire. And Miranda, was asking her different questions, like, about how long she been, a housekeeper, like a babysitter, like, does she do dishes, how much experience she has with kids. And Miranda liked it what she heard, so she called Mrs. Doubtfire into her house and interviewed her. And they talked, they went over everything, and Miranda felt comfortable, with her, being a part of the kids' life, with watching them. So, to make a long story short, the kids, they loved it, Mrs. Doubtfire. They loved it how she cooked. Even though it was really their dad, they didn't know right off who he was. And Miranda didn't even know. So one day, when Mrs. Doubtfire was in the bathroom, even though he's really a guy anyway, he was in the bathroom. He was going to the bathroom. One of the kids, which is the son, he seen Mrs. Doubtfire pour her dress up and see that she wasn't, going to the bathroom like a guy. And she found out that it was a guy. And he yelled, and his sister came in. His sister, I think her name was, what is his sister name? Lydia. He called Lydia in the, to come see what was going on. And they both started yelling. He was like, Miss Doubtfire was like, wait. And then he was like, this is not Mrs. Doubtfire, this is your dad. And he was like, listen, you cannot tell Natalie that I'm really dad because she'll blow my disguise. And they were so happy, the two oldest kids, they were so happy to know that it was their dad that was actually really, their dad really spending time with them instead of just old woman that they thought that she was. The mom didn't know, and little Lydia didn't know. So one day when Miranda came home from work, she came home with a friend of hers that she was dating from her job. Miss Doubtfire was there. Kids was doing the homework, and Miranda was like, wow, it looks great in here. And once Mrs. Doubtfire seen Miranda's new friend, she introduced him as Stu. That was his name on the movie, Stu, which was her boyfriend. And Mrs. Doubtfire wasn't feeling it at all. He was not really happy about it all. So she was like, look, I have a upcoming birthday dinner coming up. I want you, Miss Doubtfire, to come to the birthday dinner and join us. She wasn't really too happy about it. She wasn't happy to see Miranda, dating Stu, which was her boss. Even though, Miranda didn't know that Mrs. Doubtfire was in disguise. So anyway, when they was at the birthday dinner at the restaurant, they were sitting there all eating dinner. Mrs. Doubtfire gets up out the table. She said, I got to go take my medicine. She falls out the chair because she has a couple of drink. And Stu, Miranda's boyfriend, helps up. He's like, Miss Doubtfire, are you okay? She said, I'm fine, my dear. I'll be back. I'm going to the bathroom. So Miss Doubtfire runs inside the bathroom, changed out all her clothing into regular clothing, like a suit and a tie for him, because that same day Miranda had her birthday party, Daniel had a business meeting with one of his business partners. So he was changing his clothes into Mrs. Doubtfire and his regular clothing as Daniel. So what he did was he forgot to take his suit off. He runs out to the bathroom. He runs out the bathroom. He thinking he changed his clothes. He didn't. He has the same disguise on as Mrs. Doubtfire. He sits at the table with his business partner. His business partner, like, drinking his little, at his little drink. He's like, Daniel? And then he was like, yes. And then his business partner was like, why do you have disguise on? He's like, that's my surprise. And he started laughing. He sips the glass of wine with his business partner. They both start laughing. And then from across the table, he can see Miranda and the kids and Stu having dinner, because you can see them eating at the same time. They started eating dinner. And Stu started choking. He started choking. So Mrs. Doubtfire sees Stu choking from the table that he was sitting on the other side. He runs over to the table where they all sitting at, and Miranda like, he's choking. Miss Doubtfire said, Miss Doubtfire to the rescue. Miss Doubtfire runs over to the table, gives Stu the Howard maneuver. She wraps her hand around his stomach, start to pump his stomach really hard, so hard, so whereas though her whole mask comes off and her disguise gets disclosed. Miranda looks up. She sees that is really Miss Doubtfire was really Daniel. She's like, Daniel? Then the kid's like, Dad? Even the little one was even more. She was like, Dad, in tears. Miranda felt like Miranda was so humiliated and embarrassed. This is what she says, we gotta go. They leave out the restaurant. Stu shakes Daniel's hand. And then towards the end of the movie, as days went by, couple weeks goes by, Miranda home cooking dinner for the kids, and the little daughter, the youngest one, she was like, we miss Miss Doubtfire. It's not the same. She was like, no, your dad, not Miss Doubtfire. I think that's what she said in other words. So anyway, they go to court. They come to some kind of conclusion, some kind of decision where they can both, for both of them can have some kind of partnership. Not partnership. Like some kind of, figure out something they can work together so they can both see the kids and they can be happy, even though they wasn't together. But they put all their feelings aside and put the kids first and understood that, it wasn't about them and what they was going to more. It was more about the kids. So they came to some kind of conclusion where they can both see the kids, Daniel and Miranda. And they was one big happy family, but living separately because they both had, equal custody. And the kids was happy too because they was able to see their dad, and their dad was able to spend time with them. You can see Miss Doubtfire on Netflix, or you can either see it on YouTube, they have it, or either on DVD. You can even watch it on your phone because we have this new technology. But what I like most about this movie, why I say it's so inspirational, because it talks about bringing family together, and it streams of how I love Daniel's character in it because I like how he did everything he could to keep his family together. And like I said before, we don't see that in today's world today. But I just want to say I thank each one of you for joining me on this Positive Thursday. And you can also follow me on Twitter, as I'm on Twitter as well too, Zoe Flower, Zorry Flower, FOOWER. And you can also follow me on Zoe Flower YouTube. I'm also on there as well too. And I'm happy to know that this inspired you. And please share because it is powers in the numbers. God bless each one of you. And I'll talk to you next Positive Thursday.